Just some definitions here. I had actually sent this out in advance, but then I added this slide based on about a 10-minute conversation that I had with Ron this afternoon. So just some definitions to provide a little background here. An identity is defined as a set of facts about the relationship between an individual and an organization. And that's recorded on some kind of document, which may be either real or virtual, so that the organization can connect the individual with whatever affordances they're supposed to have. Okay? And I'm going to be talking about potential fraud, and that's defined as a situation where the identity document doesn't correctly represent the holder. Okay? If I show you a document which doesn't correctly represent me, then the potential for fraud is there. That's kind of an intuitive definition. Okay, so one of the questions that came up during the conversation I was having with Ron was, suppose you change your own facts. Like suppose I have a medical identity and I don't want to declare the fact that I've had tuberculosis. Okay. So I change the facts on my medical identity. Question is, does that count as fraud? And maybe yes, maybe no, but in any case, from my argument, it's an indicator of the potential for fraud. And that's really what I'm exploring. That's the variable I'm exploring, is the potential for fraud. So I argue that that whether or not it represents actual fraud, defined as there being harm done to someone and so on and so on, my interest is looking for some kind of an heuristic that's going to tell you the potential for fraud. Okay. So it becomes kind of a moot point.
And on the next slide, I want you to answer on the slide the following question.
Mm-hmm.
How is this different?
How is what different?
How is this definition different?
Okay.
This definition of potential fraud
Mm-hmm.
versus integrity of the document.
Integrity of the document.
That is, that it hasn't been changed.
You want me to attempt to answer that?
You should be able to answer it with three.
Well, what I was going to say is that I don't talk about breeding in what I have here, but in fact that was the answer I'm going to give you, is that part of the breeding process that I described says that you may start out with a document that has
This is the whole challenge. It's not simply protecting the document from being changed, because the change may not occur in that document. It may occur upstream.
correct.
Falsity may be introduced upstream.
Agreed.
And perpetuated.
Agreed. But again, look at the definitions I have here.
So what you're trying to record, but I want you to make sure, because every time you present this, there's going to be security people in the audience, and they're going to say, well, that's just security.
Mm-hmm.
That's just integrity of the document. And you got to disarm those people right away by saying, no, because this is not security on the document. This is testing whether the document can be wrong. The likelihood of the document having false data, which may have been entered upstream somewhere.
Do you mean you're dealing with recognizing the authenticity of the actual physical piece of
The issue is not with
the actual physical
tamper
document.
resistance.
With the logical.
Right. The issue is not tamper resistance, rather.
And that's, and the digital data equivalent of that is data integrity.
Rather, the issue is one of, does the document represent the holder? So the document, the document itself may not be forged in any way, but the data that it has may not represent the holder. That incorrect data, as you just said, may have come from upstream somewhere.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. And then, of course, credibility is kind of just the inverse of the potential for fraud. You could define it as 100% minus potential for fraud. Okay, so the claim that I'm making is about the credibility measurement heuristic, where the measurement of credibility is a good heuristic for potential identity fraud. That, as simply as I can put it, is the claim. Okay. I'm going to be specifically looking at potential identity fraud related to document types, not related to individual documents. I guess that's one thing I should make clear. Okay.
Are you sure this first point is what you want to say?
Measurement of the credibility of different types of identity documents is a good heuristic for estimating the potential that that type of identity document is in fact fraudulent, as defined by...
What do you mean not fraudulent?
I'm sorry, yes, not fraudulent. Okay. Yeah. Not fraudulent. Minor detail. Yeah?
Yeah. And the second point, there's more to identifying potential identity fraud, and that is the data in, I mean, you can have entirely legitimate data, but certain profiling and other things like that indicate that this person may not be straight. Like, it may be a completely legitimate driver's license. The guy giving it to you may have a record of fraud, of 20 other frauds.
Right.
And you may decide, you know, maybe you don't want that guy.
Right.
This is not all, the point is, this is, the main point here is this is going to help to validate the document policies. It's one piece, but it's not the complete story. Don't leave yourself open to that chart.
Okay.